Thanks, Nick. And like you mentioned, kind of briefly, I almost don't have to pitch myself, so it's a little nice. But I'm here today. I'm the head of marketing and growth at Frisbi, just off a Prosper show. If you were there, or if you stopped by, or if you don't know what Prosper Show is, it's a big ecosystem with, I would say there's 1,500 sellers or so, maybe less, maybe total people 2,000 or so that were there sharing insights, data, analytics hacks, whatever you want to call it, in order to grow their business moving forward. And this year, I was privy to get to speak on a panel with agency brand owners as well as service provider Frisbi, our COO, and also two people from Amazon, the global sales team. So we have a great connection with them, and they're always teaching us about what kind of services and offerings that they're helping with, helping sellers trying to get their business moving globally, right? So that's what Frisbi does. We help brands and businesses go from one marketplace and grow to multiple marketplaces around the world, not just Amazon, but outside the Amazon ecosystem. But this is the easiest by far and away a brand can take their business and move into, for example, just US to Canada or to Europe or UK or Singapore or Australia. I can name them on and on, but there is a global opportunity on Amazon, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Right now, there's 20 plus marketplaces which you as a seller can and should be selling on. Obviously, the newest one being in Belgium, which happened in 2022. There's more to be announced. There's rumors, quote unquote, insider secrets, I guess you could say, that there's ones coming to South America. South Africa has also been a target for Amazon to announce and to open up as a marketplace coming soon in 2023, 2024. So stay tuned that there's more opportunity on Amazon. So what does that mean as a seller? Well, obviously there's pros and cons to growing your brand globally. Since I have 10 minutes, I won't stick on each of these individual points, but obviously pros is a greener market where there's more eyeballs, there's more buying power. United States or .com is not the only place where there's buying power. There's incremental value on different marketplaces within Amazon worldwide, and that is continuing to grow as adoption of the marketplace grows in that marketplace. So obviously, with the pros comes cons. There's potential, your product might not fit for that local market. My product I'm selling in the United States might not be a great fit for Nick in Bulgaria, for example, or anything in that part of the world, or in South America, or Singapore, China. My product might not fit that ecosystem or that target demographic. So there is a pros and cons to going into different markets. You need to go where the right customer is, but there is a lot more buying power than just .com. When people think about growing their brand globally, one of these or multiple of these barriers or thoughts or concerns pop up into people's minds. One of these can deter someone from even just selling into a market like Canada, for example, something that's simple and straightforward. But one of these things, that's what we do as a company, is we help take down those barriers. We help people overcome those objectives. To be honest, it's more fruitful for brands who are taking on these different ideas and thoughts and overcoming these objectives, and then also taking their brand to another level, taking their brand from a 7-figure business or a 6-figure business, again, whatever's successful in your eyes, to make that available to different markets worldwide. That the opportunities are endless. I've seen brands that have gone into Europe and then they're picked up in retail in European outlet stores because they're at Amazon.uk, DE in Germany, whatever that looks like. There's global opportunity out there for your brand if you truly want to be a globalized brand. So adding Amazon to your game plan is really what we teach and I preach and wanted to talk to people about today, because according to statistics from Jungle Scout, their 2023 data, sellers have actually doubled from 25% to 50% of the 3,000 sellers that they surveyed, people who are looking for opportunities to grow their brands, their margins, to fight inflation, whatever that deterrent is right now. They're looking to grow into different markets, and that means different countries within Amazon and outside of Amazon. So there's a significant interest in growing within Amazon's ecosystems, not just on .com, but in different marketplaces. So a lot of what I want to tell people is kind of build up the basics. It's an intermediate level. This is probably for someone who's successful in .com, been selling for 1-2 years probably, and are ready to take that next level. So I would call it an intermediate level course or level of seller process. But this is for everyone to start planning and thinking about, because it's not just a switch. You can't just subscribe to a model like this and start selling tomorrow in these markets. So start to percolate, start to cultivate these thoughts and ideas. Who's ready for this step? When should you start? Obviously, start planning these things right away as soon as you're ready as a business. And how do you even begin? So a lot of these connections I'm going to be talking about today are both something that us as a service operate, where we have a lot of great partners like HelloTax. We have direct connections within Amazon's global sales team. It's free, and they're able to help you get up and running to sell on those marketplaces as well. But just a cool statistic I want to share from Amazon's internal team and their global sales team. If everyone knows what NARF is, or you should know, it's when you're a seller and you're selling a North American remote fulfillment program, which is my inventory is in the United States and I can sell in Canada, I can sell in Mexico. It's just distributed from US fulfillment centers, but I'm selling in those marketplaces. Even if I switched and started selling directly to Canada's fulfillment center, so my goods and inventory are in Canada instead of the United States going across the border, taking anywhere from 7 to 10 business days to be prime shipped to customers in Canada, there's actually a 4x lift in sales when they have inventory directly in fulfillment center warehouses instead of fulfillment locally. That's a huge bump just initially putting inventory into a localized fulfillment center than just having it directly remotely fulfilled. So even if you take away something today, my note would be if you're just kind of dancing around, foot in the pool, trying to determine if the water's nice in Canada or Mexico, or even a pan-European program, you're just kind of dancing around there. These numbers don't lie when it comes to the lift because your product is actually locally available. It means your organic listings are going to rank higher because you can get your goods quicker. There's a lot of pros when it comes to your goods being natively within that market that you're selling to. So, but what's kind of the best market that you can enter in today? I just kind of want to walk through a couple different cool tools that not a lot of people are aware of. They're all free. They're all eco-friendly, to our wallets. So I just wanted to share these with people. It's a new free product opportunity explorer within Amazon. I actually started releasing globally on Amazon in October of 2022, but this is something that in Seller Central you should have availability in as well. Profit Opportunity Explorer, as you can see from the screenshot, it allows me as a US seller with a Seller Central account, and I have access access to those countries. I can actually go and look at opportunities by category as well as ASIN level within those countries. So that as of when I took the screenshot, that was United States, Germany, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Spain, top markets within the United Kingdom as well as EU. And obviously the links are right there. They're just sellercentral.com/opportunity-explorer. And even Helium 10, shout out to Helium 10. They actually did a little really cool blog on it, just kind of a breakdown on what that looks like at the time of it. But this is something that you can look and see your keywords, if they're ranking on those marketplaces or not. A lot of people come to me and they say, hey, Ryan, can I sell my camping blanket in the United Kingdom? Well, I truly don't know because I don't know the data behind those analytics. So let's take a look at this opportunity. So this is what it looks like if I just search baby in the United Kingdom. You can start to see the customer needs the top search terms or search volume past 360 days because doing a year search term would just be a little too ridiculous to get those 5 additional days. But you can start to look at search volume growth, search volume the past 90 days, so more recency volume, average units sold, average price of which they're selling in that local currency, which is another big key, and then price range of what they're selling goods as well. So you can see baby clothing, baby swimsuit, baby sun hat, baby socks. These are just natural things I search in baby in the United Kingdom at that time when I took the screenshot. But what's really cool about the Opportunity Explorer is that you can also, the biggest takeaway I was taking is your keywords. If you're number one, for example, I talked about camping blanket from a seller. His number one keyword search term is camping blanket in the United States. I searched that same term in .de and .uk. Wasn't even a search term, wasn't even available, wasn't even something that he should even pay attention, put ad money towards, even think about funding. I'm trying to think of all the people here, any sort of marketing towards that, because that's not a phrase that anyone in those markets search for. So kind of things like that, when you're entering a new market, you have to do the data, you have to do the research, and you need to know who your audience is. If they're not searching for that phrase, I need to know locally, localization wise, who's going to be searching for that term and how I should cultivate and talk to that audience. So there was things like camping gear or camping, or sleeping gear, but not camping blanket, which was something that, again, number one search term that he does really well in, doesn't exist in other countries internationally. So that was a really cool tip I wanted to share with people. And another thing to round out kind of my thoughts on, everyone's what's the easiest countries to enter in Amazon. We always tout there's timelines for everything because of getting up and running, product compliance, taxes, things like that sort. But based on product type, the easiest countries to enter via Amazon FBA are in the general category. If you have a product selling in the general categories, Japan, Singapore, UAE are the easiest to enter. There's no registrations needed to begin in terms of product compliance in those categories. Canada, United Kingdom, and EU are very easy as well. They're right behind those, but there's some forms that you have to fill out. In terms of health and beauty category, United Kingdom is the easiest to get up and running and start selling the quickest. In electronics category, United Kingdom is the easiest as well. On the flip side, the difficult countries to enter into Amazon FBA are Mexico and Saudi Arabia. Customs, actually, when people ask me, can I sell directly to Mexico or sell in Mexico? It's a very difficult ecosystem to sell in because you have to have an importer record and you have to have a physical entity in these countries. So it's very difficult in terms of Mexico. The best and easiest solution to sell in Brazil, in Mexico is NARF right now, unless you have a physical store in those countries and you can claim as an importer of record. You can't do that in Mexico, or you can't do it virtually on Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Brazil. So those are very difficult countries to sell in directly as a seller. In terms of medium setup time and difficult ones, or how quickly they can get started, let me make sure. How quickly can you get started in terms of products and selling into these markets, to give everyone kind of like a if you're ready or not ready. The shortest time frame to get going and selling in these markets is UAE, Singapore, and Japan. Japan's almost instantaneously you can start to sell in based on the general category of the likes. Medium setup times anywhere like 2 to 3 weeks to get set up and start selling. UK and Canada, not too terrible. And longest time frame actually is Germany. On average, it's taking 6 to 9 weeks to get set up, start selling, make sure you're translated and have your goods clear customs, and make sure everything product compliance wise is tied up in a bow. So those are to give everyone an idea of start to plan for the future. Even if you're thinking Germany in 2023, you might be looking at a whole quarter just to get set up in time. So things to talk about. I'm not sure if I can breeze through this or if I have time, but 5 mistakes that we see sellers make when entering these countries: not paying their taxes or not claiming their taxes instead of putting it on Amazon. So pay for it before you start to sell into those international countries, because Amazon will turn your goods right back around. You'll pay for shipping costs. It's a whole big mess. And having an import of record, it's something you need to sell in international markets. Make sure that you can't sell without them. Having the wrong homogenized code. Nick will know this, tax wise. If you actually have the wrong commercial invoice and you have the wrong tax homogenized code, you might actually have an exemption versus paying a certain rate. And then also not planning for returns. It can be expensive. Believe it or not, in other markets, people return stuff. So you have to have a plan in place in order to sell to those markets. So that's and then obviously less than truckload and small parcel delivery. Amazon's actually shifting more towards small, more frequent shipments into their fulfillment centers versus big bulky items. There's a whole talk I would talk about this, but this is a mistake that people just don't think about when they're growing into their different marketplaces. So that's all I have today. I'm going to stop sharing. I think that was 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer.